Hello, it's Griff, and I'm on. And it's super windy today, so apologize if this recording gets messed up. We are live, and there's only so many places that I could go live around here. So if this recording gets too windy, I just did the same talk for the California North Coast Redwoods Facebook page. So if it gets too bad, you can go there. But what I want to talk to you guys about, what I want to show you, actually, is the green blur. This is what most people have when they come into nature. They look and there's like, oh, there's tree, vines, and bushes. That's like the three types of plants. But green blur is a new, hey, Darlene, the green blur is a new phenomena, okay? Because our ancestors, no matter where your ancestors were from, Asia, Africa, Europe, North America, our ancestors knew plants. They knew the plants that were growing around them. They knew edible plants. They knew poisonous plants. They knew medicinal plants. They had stories behind plants. They thought some plants had spiritual powers. Like last week or last Friday, I was talking about English ivy. And my ancestors in Ireland and Wales used to bring English ivy into their house because they thought it ward away evil spirits. Now it's this terrible invasive that I pulled. My ancestors would be so upset with me. But you don't want to have green blur because it's more fun to understand what you're looking at. And according to neuroscientific studies, learning to differentiate plants and pulling things out of the green, learning how to differentiate shapes helps create neural pathways and keeps our brains healthy. So what a great brain exercise. I know you guys are all doing puzzles right now because of the pandemic, but as soon as the puzzles are over, come out here and puzzle out some of this green blur, okay? And you want to, because if you look carefully at this green blur right here, there's some things that you don't want to get caught slipping on. That's some slang for you don't want to get caught up in it, or you don't want to learn the hard way. So this is, does anybody know what that is? See these little tiny flowers and it's got hairs all over it? That's stinging nettle. And there's a bunch of it out here. And if you walk through that, you'll have an unpleasant experience. The hairs get in you and they burn, creates a rash on some people. But if you boil it, it's super, super nutritious and delicious food. And it's also the butterfly host plant for the red admiral, which is a beautiful, beautiful butterfly. And then this, if you got the green blur and you walked into that, does anybody know what that is? You'd be walking into poison oak. And so poison oak is also a beautiful plant and has a lot of wildlife value, especially because its berries are edible for so many different kinds of birds. But poison oak is unpleasant if you have a reaction to it. So I've been working in the woods all my life. Been a firefighter, trail worker, biologist, wildlife biologist. I've done, name it, outside. I've been interested in doing it and have done it for years. And I'll tell you right now, Dawn soap and a washcloth, scrub, 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 best way to get rid of poison oak. Trust that, okay? And you can always refer to your doctor, any kind of medical, we're supposed to say stuff like that, but check with your dermatologist, because I actually learned that from a dermatologist. So this right here is unfortunate. Here's something unfortunate, so hopefully this won't make you guys sad, but it's nature. Looks like somebody lost their head. So can you see that? That's a little mole that doesn't have a head. So let me turn them around here. Sorry for those of you who are squeamish, but I think a bobcat must have done that, because a lot of times bobcats will eat the head off things because it's the most nutritious part and leave it. But I'm gonna double check and research that. I just found that. But moles are cool little creatures and they have very soft fur, although I wouldn't recommend petting this one. But they have very, very, very soft fur. And they're carnivores, and so if you see them in your garden, they're a welcome sight. They're not going to eat your vegetables. They're not vegetarians. They're going to eat your snails. They're going to eat things like that, bugs. So moles in the garden, good thing. Don't assume just because something tunneling through your garden that's a gopher, because it may not be. It may be your friend, the mole, and you don't want to drown those or however you deal with your gophers. All right, so let's see what else is out here. Well, before we go further, can't really talk about plants unless you talk about the insects that's associated with them. So to help us understand insects better, insects and amphibians go through metamorphosis. Anything with morph in it means change, shape, morphology, study of shape, morph, metamorphosis. So you know there's going to be some change of shape involved. So amphibians do metamorphosis, eggs, tadpole, frog, and insects do metamorphosis. And there's complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis. And this isn't as hard as you think it's going to be. This is easy to understand, okay? So butterflies do complete metamorphosis. Egg, larva, cocoon, adult. 4 steps, right? Complete metamorphosis, okay? And we're all familiar with that. Now there's incomplete metamorphosis that dragonflies do and cicadas do and grasshoppers do. And so here's a little drawing example that's mirror image. So there's a complete. Don't worry about the words, just look at the drawings. And there's incomplete. So what incomplete means is like you're born and you're a teenager, and then one day you're like, ah, and you rip out of your own skin, ah, and you come out and now you have wings, okay? So the nymph stage usually does not have wings, and the adult stage usually does have wings, and insects that do incomplete metamorphosis like cicadas. And so cicadas are really cool when they're doing their, so that's it ripping out of its back. Can you imagine how good that must feel? That must feel so good. Look at that. I'm coming out, coming. Every time I see that, that song gets in my head. So sorry, I've been singing it all day today. But yeah, coming out of its skin. So I got a few other live examples. I don't know if you're gonna see them, but stoneflies do that too. And there's so many stonefly larvae in the river right now. So stoneflies and dragonflies, they do their nymphal stage in the water. Okay, they're like little dragons in the water. Oh, and so this is its. Can you see it? So it kind of ripped out of its own back. This is its old childhood skin, and then the creature that came out of this had wings and flew away. So these are all over the river right now, and you've probably seen this before and didn't know what they were. You're like, ooh, it's a dead bug. No, it's the skin of a bug that flew away. Okay, so awesome. Let's look at some more plants. Now the reason why I wanted to bring up metamorphosis is because we're gonna go look at some plants and talk about what metamorphosizes on them. All right, what's up, Sherry? What's up, Jesse? All right, we're gonna, here we go. So, this trail has got a lot of biodiversity. Here's some more stingy nettle, wonderful butterfly host plant. And this right here is in the carrot family. Hopefully the lighting is good enough here. Can you see that? Let's see if we change. See that? That is, I don't know if you guys can see this one. I wonder if there's one more light here. Can you guys see that? Let's go someplace where it's lighter. I'm not sure if you can see that. But that is a very poisonous plant called poison hemlock. It's another reason why you don't want to have green blur, because green blur could get you in a lot of trouble. Here's a smaller poison hemlock plant. So it's in the carrot family. See, it's got this carrot parsley type leaf, parsley, and then it has red on its stems, okay? And so this is the plant that they gave Socrates to kill him. So Socrates was killed for being way ahead of his time, and he was made to drink. So this is a non-native plant. It's not from North America. It came from Europe, but he was made to drink this stuff. So, and that's how we have it. That's the documentation we have about how it kills you. It wasn't a fast death. And the last thing he said was to tell his servant to go pay somebody for a chicken. So at least even on his deathbed, he was like trying to be honorable. Isn't that good? Because, I mean, most of us would have been like, oh, I'm dying, so I'm not paying for that chicken. but he did, so that was good of him. All right. So that's poison hemlock, non-native. Green blur only grows up, or can it come down as well? Green blur grows up, or can it come down as well? Johanna, it's like a riddle. Green blur can be wherever the plants are. So some of the plants out here, like this one, this is a horsetail. This is another type of horsetail, equisetum. They mine the soil for silica, glass, which makes them hard to chew and eat. And that's probably why they've been on the planet since before the dinosaurs, actually. Ferns and equisetum were like the plants, way before flowering plants. So here's another Here's another poison hemlock in there. Whoa, oh. Change itself. So here's another poison hemlock. You don't want to put these in your mouth at all, ever. Okay? So let's talk about this plant. So this plant, see those white flowers? So this is in the berry family. This is thimbleberry. I love thimbleberries. Thimbleberries they're delicious fruit. They have cool like maple-like leaves here you can see. And they're a larval host plant for some very, very cool moths. And we'll talk about them right now, and I'll show you pictures because I'm so excited about these things. So have you ever seen moths are, let me turn this way. Moths are a lot more interesting than most people think. Moths can do a lot of mimicking. And so look at this bumblebee. That isn't a bumblebee. That's a moth, okay? So it's a bumblebee mimic moth, okay? It's got a really cute caterpillar. Oh, that's not that cute, is it? But anyways, it lays its eggs on a few native plants, and Rubus parviflorus thimbleberry is one of them. And it hovers, so it looks like a bumblebee. I've only seen it one time, and I was blown away. I knew it was a moth when I saw it because I had read about these. And then the other one, the first time I saw this one, this is a white-lined Sphinx moth that also lays its eggs on Rubus parviflorus. So if you live in thimbleberry range, you can plant this as a native plant and you can get the super cool moss. So this one acts just like a hummingbird. So this is another example of convergent evolution, which I've talked about in these lives before. So hummingbirds doesn't have a common ancestor, but they both independently evolved with hovering flight in order to hover over a flower and drink nectar. That's incredible! Isn't that incredible? It's like magic. And again, just because you can explain something that seems magical in scientific terms doesn't mean that it's no longer magical. It just means that you're a wizard. Okay? So next time you see this, you can talk about convergent evolution, talk about how you're a wizard at the same time. Your friends will think you're so weird. But this has a really cute caterpillar, so it's all right. So they often call these the Horntail Caterpillars. So Sphinx moths, they're both hawk moths, which most hawk moths are in tropical areas, but we have these up here. Cool. So I love thimbleberries. Now the reason why you've never had thimbleberry jam is because they don't all get ripe at the same time. So you'd have to go out there and pick some, and then come back a couple weeks later and pick some, and then you have to come back a couple weeks later and pick some. So like, you don't see it mass produced because it would be too expensive. Also, the berries don't ship very far. And they smash really easily. So a lot of times the reason why we have the domestic crops we have is because they have long shelf lives. And a lot of times when people do genetically modify vegetables, they genetically modify them to last longer, have a longer shelf life so that people can sell them more. It's not so much for taste, unfortunately, which is why you should learn about heirloom varieties. But anyways, we're moving on now. So the green blur, you don't want to have it because there's poison oak like that, there's poison hemlock like that, and there's this beautiful area of butterfly host plants. So pretty cool. And equisetum. So this is the riparian forest, so riverside forest in Humboldt Redwood State Parks. And I'm going to show you, see if my friend is still over here. I met a friend earlier. Let me see if he's still here. Isn't this beautiful? So that's all thimbleberry and stinging nettle. So excellent butterfly nursery. Oh, my friend is gone. So there was this really cool snail here. Oh, here he is. So that's a native snail right there. That's a sideband snail. So he's inside because it's dry, but if you could see his skin is red. He's not the European snail that I was talking about the other day. They usually have a band right here, but this is a Redwood sideband snail, and I noticed they don't have as clear of a band. But yeah, Mark, there are a few alder trees out here. Most of them are maples though. So that's pretty cool. Sideband snail. And there's so many sideband snails in this little area right here. I always see them right here. And then looks like a shrew mole got eaten. So you see, it's a bad day and bad place for shrew moles and moles. So, anyways, you guys should come and check out this beautiful place. Get over your green blur. Do this puzzle. Figure this puzzle out. The puzzle of plants. You can get an iNaturalist app and you can figure out what's going on out here, because this is the most beautiful place in the world. And you can do this around your house wherever you live too. So if you are local, and I know some of you are, if you are local, let me show you a couple good books and then I'll let you go. So if you are local, Peter and Judy Hazard's book, wonderful. And that says Pacific Northwest Insects by Peter and Judy Hazard. I use it all the time. Great photos. And see, here's some more like moth mimics. See, that one looks like a yellow jacket. So a great book. They signed this one for me. I go for walks with this guy every once in a while, and he does walks for the public through Friends of the Dunes. So if you're in the Humboldt area, go on a walk with P. Haggard. It'll be a amazing experience. And there's lots of cool plant guides, and most of them aren't in mirror effect. This one says plants of the Pacific Northwest coast, and you can start learning plants and really get through this green blur and build some new neural pathways. And it's totally interesting to learn about plants and what insects pollinate them, what insects and animals eat them or distribute the seeds or whatever. It's fascinating. Trust me, you will get into it. So thank you very, very much. Like and share this. Share this with any potential plant nerds that you may know, or that need to become plant nerds, or just people who enjoy the outdoors and want to see how planting native plants in your spaces will help wildlife. You saw the animals that used, the beautiful butterflies and moths that use those plants as host plants. That story is true with every native plant. They have associations with animals. If you go to Native Plant Finder, National Wildlife Federation's Native Plant Finder, and put in your zip code, you can find the plants that are native to your area, create your own park at home. All right. Like and share. Thank you very much. And I will go through and answer your comments today and tomorrow. I appreciate you guys keeping your physical distance, your social distance, and staying home, staying safe at home. And hopefully we'll be beyond this pandemic soon. Hopefully.